Welcome to the review of the Champions League final league phase match day. So, before the matches, basically here's what was happening. Arsenal and Bayern were 100% safe. Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Spurs were the only ones in control. They were the only teams in the top 8 that were in control of getting into the top 8 because they were clear on points with everyone else. So, all they had to do was win their games. Everyone from 6th to 13th were level on 13 points, meaning that they all have to try their best to win by as much as possible. PSG and Newcastle have a significantly better goal difference than everyone else, but they were playing against each other. That's the issue. Now, the reason you need to try as hard as possible because even if you win your game, you might miss out on top 8 anyway because somebody else won by a larger margin. These guys could have made it to the top 8, but it's practically impossible. These guys needed a win to keep themselves alive. So did these guys, especially Napoli. And these guys are dead. So, yeah. The winner of PSG and Newcastle was definitely getting into top 8. And a draw is going to see them get eliminated. Both teams will end up in the playoffs. Napoli needed to win to secure staying alive in the Champions League. Chelsea needed to win to get top 8. Here's the results. What happened? PSG and Newcastle did end up drawing the game, which took both teams out of the top 8 and allowed other teams to enter. Chelsea beat Napoli, meaning Chelsea qualified for top 8 and Napoli become the first major casualty of the new league phase format because last year the league phase only really eliminated random teams, but this year Napoli got outdid. Congrats Napoli, you're the first casualty of this. Inter Milan beat Dortmund, but both teams end up in playoffs anyway. Man City beat Galatasaray 2-0, which was actually enough to get into top 8 thanks to Real Madrid's loss and PSG and Newcastle draw. Atletico lost to Bodo Glimt, which took Atletico out of contention for the top 8 and also allowed Bodo Glimt to make it to the next round, where they will be playing either Real Madrid or Inter Milan. So that's unlucky, but they might win against Madrid, honestly. Barcelona beat Copenhagen to secure their spot. Real Madrid lost to Jose Mourinho's Benfica, which actually Benfica scored a 90th minute goal with their goalkeeper, which actually allowed them to just get a good enough goal difference to secure the final spot, and took Real Madrid out of the top 8. Liverpool destroyed Karabakh to stay in the top 8. Spurs took care of business against Frankfurt. This didn't really matter. Both teams are ending up in the playoffs anyway. Atalanta lost their chance to get into the top 8 because they lost to Union Saint-Gilloise, which I'm definitely pronouncing that wrong. Sporting beat Athletic Bilbao to get to the top 8. They secured an unlikely top 8 finish. I don't think anyone was expecting them to get top 8 at the start of the campaign, but they did. Largely thanks to them beating PSG last week. Marseille lost to Club Brugge 3-0, which actually was enough to eliminate Marseille. That messed up their goal difference enough. Leverkusen beat Villarreal. Olympiacos beat Ajax to stay alive. Pafos beat Slavia Prague 4-1, but it wasn't enough because their goal difference just wasn't good enough. Bayern beat PSV 2-1, which eliminated PSV. And Arsenal got a win against 36th place Kairat. So we have Arsenal, Bayern, Liverpool, Spurs, Barca, Chelsea, Sporting, and Man City all qualifying directly to the round 16. Arsenal becoming the first ever team to go perfect in the league phase. The seeded teams for the playoffs are Real Madrid, Inter, PSG, Newcastle, Juventus, Atletico Madrid, Atalanta, and Leverkusen. The unseeded teams are Dortmund, Olympiacos, Club Brugge, Galatasaray, Monaco, Karabakh, Bodo Glimt, and Benfica. And these guys all got eliminated. Villarreal, Frankfurt, and Athletic Club Bilbao should honestly be ashamed of themselves. And that's Napoli especially. Napoli, I don't think anyone expected Napoli to go out here only winning 2 games. So, Here's the bracket for the knockout stage. Now, last year we had Madrid and City in the playoff round, largely thanks to City being unseeded due to being bad. This year, all the big teams were at least able to either secure top 8 or a seeded position. So realistically, I think the biggest match potential is the biggest potential match in the playoff round is going to be probably Leverkusen versus Dortmund if the draw ends up shaking out like that way. Yeah, like Leverkusen slash Atalanta versus Dortmund is probably the biggest possible match here. There's going to be some really good round 16 games, but the playoff round is probably going to be kind of dull. Unless Real Madrid lose to Bodo Glimt, please let that happen. Alright, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.